Hey friends, I'm Hannah, also known as Grave Intentions. I'm an artist, cosplayer, and all-around creative nerd. Recently, I've been streaming my artwork and I've had some questions pop up about making custom brushes. I use custom brushes for anything I can because I feel like it makes the art process a lot more personal and enjoyable, and sometimes can really speed up the rendering process as well. Today I wanted to show you how I make some of my favorite types of custom brushes. Now, I'm no expert whatsoever, and most of what I've found out has been through messing with things and trial and error, but this is what has worked for me so far. Also, if you like my brushes, I have a few brush sets available for free on my Patreon and Gumroad, which I'll leave in the description. I'm a character artist, and I specialize in D&D characters. I draw a lot of swords, shields, bows, and arrows. It gets time consuming, so to simplify everything, I've been making basic weapon stamps to customize and alter. So first up for making brushes, use a square canvas. Sketch out what you want your stamp to look like. I'm making a little elven sword here. And I like to use the Symmetry Drawing Assist for my stamps to make sure that everything is even. After your sketch is done, lower the opacity and use your favorite line art brush in a new layer to clean up the lines. You're going to want to do this in pure black for the next few steps. After your line art is done, you're going to use a clipping mask layer over your stamp in pure white. Make the background of your piece a pure black. This is important for the next step. You're going to save your brush as a .psd file with your lines in the white and the background in the black. Then go to your Brushes tab, click the plus at the top right corner, and upload your .psd shape under the Shape tab. You're going to go to the Stroke Path tab on the Brush Studio and up the spacing to max. As an optional step, I go to the Properties tab and mess with the min and max scale of the brush because I like having a large variety. After this, just mess around with the brush to get it to the properties you like. I usually leave it at this though. So I draw a ton of armor, and armor is really shiny. I can spend hours shading layer after layer, or I can make a textured highlight brush and do half the job for me. For this brush, you can make your own shape or use Procreate's wonderful source library. I'm going to be using the Blotch 2 brush for its texture. I love a good textured brush, especially for hammered metal textures, so I'll also be using a texture from the source library in the grain section as well. The whiter a grain source, the less textured it is when you actually use it, and I want the grain texture to be less subtle than my shape, so I'll go for the textured ink one. Now, to make this brush glow, we go to the rendering page and under blend mode, choose the add option, and under rendering mode, choose intense blending. Try messing around with different brushes and sources for different effects. You can also make wonderful glitter, confetti, and fire brushes with these settings. Last up, I want to show you how I make a pattern brush. I love using pattern brushes for clothing, backgrounds, and adding a little extra detail, but they can get a little tricky. This is how I create more or less a seamless pattern for my work. For my pattern, I'm going to use a little foresty mushroom pattern with some small sketches as my example. After you get your general pattern idea in place, you're going to add a black fill layer behind it and lower the opacity way down. Then create a new group layer and move these. Use the uniform setting with magnetics and snapping on, then shrink this down to 1/4 of your canvas. Duplicate the group and move it to your other quarters. The black layer shows you if you have any overlap where you don't want any at all. You can stop here or do as I do and repeat the steps. Just be sure that you merge everything down and delete the black opacity layers. I stop after the second time, but it's up to personal preference. Save this as a PSD with the black and white flipped once again like we did with the stamp layers. Next, go into your Brush Studio, select the grain option and import your PSD. Make sure the texture is set to texturized other than moving. I up the brush size and properties once again and test out my brush. I would love to put this on some fabric. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you at least a little. If you have anything else you'd like to see, feel free to let me know. As always, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!